Is marijuana really as accepted in the US as Reddit makes it out to be? Where I am, it is more acceptable than tobacco. It depends on where in the United States you are. In Boston, you could openly smoke a joint on the sidewalk. I think that's technically illegal to do it out in the open. But I'm not even sure about that. No one will bother you or even look at you differently. If you're in a rural church town, some folks might take issue with you doing it in the open. But if someone finds out you do in your own home, they might decide to get in your business if it offends their sensibilities. Something citizens of homogeneous countries don't really grasp is the sheer diversity of living conditions and culture across the country. How someone lives their lives in rural Idaho will be very different from San Francisco. Canadian here. Weed has been legalized because the majority has considered it acceptable for many years prior. Now it's up to the individual to decide how to feel about it instead of the legal system dictating. I would imagine it's the same in the USA, but along with individuals having an opinion in areas where it's legal, individual states can still dictate policy. At the end of the day, prohibition is a tough sell, especially when it's a plant you can grow in your garden. I mean, I live in Humboldt County in California. Weed is legal here, but even before that it was commonly accepted here. People would just smoke it out in the open around town. Now the only difference is you can walk into a dispensary and buy it. I live in NYC, and it is legal. I am 71 and have been smoking on and off since high school. Worked as a college professor and had no problems. It's all your culture and where you live and your mindset. Smirk, smirk. Yes. Think about it. Alcohol is literally a drug. But unless you're in certain parts of the Middle East, I'm guessing it's widely accepted where you live. So why would marijuana be any different? It's been ubiquitous for decades. And the government's misinformation campaign against it backfired in the worst way. While its status is still a bit complicated, it is legal to use in one way or another in most U.S. states, and legal to use recreationally in almost half, and growing. So yeah, it's pretty much accepted in large swaths of the U.S. American in Asia. Yes, weed is super chill in the States now. And the attitude in Asia seems a bit conservative. True. I think alcohol is far more dangerous than weed in here. Korea. With the way people drink and how it's so loosely regulated, I'd be scared to see other substances become more common. I never stayed out drinking all night in the States. BC bars and clubs closed around 2. Unlike Seoul, which never stops. I've also never seen bartenders cut people off when they're wasted in Korea. I know people don't typically drive here, but you'd be arrested for being publicly intoxicated or passed out on the streets in the States. But it's all too frequent here. There's also more social stigma surrounding sobriety, especially for men. Emo. Weed, however, is pretty harmless. The current administration in Korea is on about their war on drugs. But I don't think drugs are a problem here at all. Unless you consider alcohol, which they don't. Lol. 1/3 of Oklahomans have a medical card. It's pretty universally accepted. I think it's a lot like alcohol. Some people enjoy the effects. Some don't. You can use it to get somewhat wasted. But you can also use it mildly to relax and such. It's literally a drug! Exclamation mark. So is caffeine. It's pretty acceptable. Even in places where it is illegal, a large amount of the prison population is for possession of marijuana. People in the US smoke a lot of weed. East Asia is just more conservative when it comes to drugs that aren't alcohol or cigarettes. When I heard that South Korea will arrest its citizens for consuming drugs outside Korea, where it's legal, I couldn't believe it. We flood our bodies with so many drugs on a daily basis. I think drawing such a hard Puritan line at specific ones is weird tbh. Nicotine is literally a drug. Caffeine is literally a drug. Alcohol is literally a drug. I'm in CT. Went in for lung cancer screening yesterday. And the waiting room reeked like weed. So yeah, pretty much normalized. I'm American and it's still weird to me. Accepted but still weird. I'm old enough to remember friends being paranoid they'd go to prison for having a joint in the car. Yeah, it's accepted. From here, the way some Asian countries drink seems excessive. Also, alcohol makes you violent whereas weed does not. Personally, I think the ruling class hates marijuana and psychedelics because they make you question capitalism. I live in Ohio and it's not rare to openly see people smoking blunts, or especially see your coworkers with a THC vape. I've smoked with strangers before. For being illegal, it's pretty much not. Why would what someone else does tear you apart? Also, drug is not a bad word. All medicine is a form of some type of drug. You have been brainwashed. It's legal in Michigan and very much accepted here now. There are so many dispensaries that it's kind of crazy. Lol.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.